Hey guys, Pete Branscombe here. Just doing this video quick there as a quick response to the Alex Jones, Joe Rogan podcast, big podcast. If you watched it, then you're probably, like you say, like a lot of guys were disappointed that there wasn't this big climax kind of thing, right? Because they were building this up, right? And how, Alex was ready to, destroy Joe Rogan and yada, yada, yada. And of course, in the podcast, it was none of that. But I will say this. The main takeaway from all this, because they talked about a lot of interesting stuff, there's no doubt, there's no question, but there's always a lot of twisting in everything they talk about. And Rich, I think you hit her pretty good that these guys were all pretty messed up during that podcast. Like, one thing I noticed about Alex Jones in the last couple of years, since about the time of Trump, is that he does a lot of teeth gritting. And he never used to do that at all, ever. And now, certain podcasts he gets on, or certain shows when he's on them, like, his teeth are just gritting. And you can see by the end of the show that these guys are, they're pretty out of it. And they've been talking for a long time, and they've been drinking and smoking and whatever else. I'm not going to necessarily comment on that, but Anyways, the main takeaway from all this is that they discussed their religious beliefs, okay, and how similar they actually are. And I'm going to preface this all with a video. Aleister Crowley, the Beast. I think that's what it is, the Beast, and it's a documentary by Aleister Crowley. I had this documentary years ago. It's been about 10 years since 10 years that I bought the thing, and I watched it a few times back in the day when I was researching a lot of that stuff. During that documentary, when Aleister Crowley, okay, and if you don't know Aleister Crowley, look him up, because everybody should probably know or have heard of Aleister Crowley. When he was making his rise in the occult, okay, there was a lot of struggle going on within the lodges in these occult orders. And one of the big things from the documentary was that guys within these orders that were working with the forces of light, and then there were guys within the orders that were working with the darker, sinister forces of black magic, okay? And Aleister Crowley took over the lodges and stuff with I shouldn't say lodges, but he took over some of these orders with the black magic, and he brought in the black magic side. And what we've seen in the last century is the rise of black magic and the satanic magic, okay? And now that I preface that, okay, that there's a struggle between the forces of darkness and the forces of light, okay? But both of these two forces both reside in the realm of magic, okay? One represents all knowledge of self and whatnot, the knowledge of evil, right? And darkness, and of self-gratitude and all of that stuff, right? And the light magic is more about helping humanity, self-betterment for the betterment of humanity and whatnot, right? And it would have a lot of attributes that would seem familiar to conservatives, Christians, right-wingers, and so on, so forth. But the end game of it all is that it's still a force of magic. It's not the true source of light, which is Jesus Christ, okay? Alex Jones talks about God a lot, and they talk about simulation and everything, and that all has relevance, but it's all coded in what they're saying. The main point of this podcast was that Joe Rogan is a representative of the black side of the occult, or the satanic side, the Anton LaVey's and all that. And Alex Jones is a representative of the forces of light, okay? Because when Alex Jones talks about globalism and communism and everything like that, right? And those are all sources of the dark satanic magic, where Alex Jones talks about a breakaway civilization that the elite are trying to start and whatnot. Well, that is a breakaway civilization for themselves, and Alex Jones is looking for this breakaway civilization to come to all of humanity, and that is what the forces of light, okay, are trying to accomplish. And all this stuff is all just Kabbalah, Tree of Life stuff, right? And when we say Tree of Life, it doesn't mean the true Tree of Life. It's talking about the Tree of Knowledge and Good and Evil, which is the Tree of Death, okay? The idea that man with knowledge can know everything evil and everything good, and then out of having all this knowledge, make the correct decisions. Alex Jones said that we're in a simulation, we're all being tested. That's true. In Satan's system, okay? In the Antichrist system, the Luciferian system, okay? These guys are not for God. They're not about the true light of Jesus Christ. They're about Lucifer. And what they want to bring in is Lucifer's world order. And what you've seen was the forces of darkness and the forces of light synthesizing in this interview. That's what you had. The ultimate synthesis.